Good evening.
Good evening, sister.
Being internally quiet while living in a noisy world. Topic today. And welcome for those who are joining us for the first time. Before we start, we'll start with a minute of silence, and then we'll have a short introduction, sharing. Let's start with a minute of silence. And in this minute, just reflect on what it means for you to be internally quiet. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome offline, online, everyone who's tuning in. So the topic for today's session is internally quiet while living in a noisy world. Right? I was just thinking, how many of us here have thought about how these scientists and all these, great people who have made such discoveries that are beneficial in today's world have made those discoveries or have made those inventions? How many of us have thought about that sometime? We wonder how an apple falling from a tree can result into a whole big theory. But if you look at it, it's just about the internal silence and the internal reflection that they have done on a particular topic, on a particular thing, on a particular study, on a particular field. So it's to do with the self. So Sister Rona today will be taking us into a journey where we could explore some aspects where we can explore the quietness, the stillness that we can cultivate, and then we can enhance that while carrying out all our tasks and responsibilities throughout the day, throughout all our busy schedules, and then put this wisdom into action. So welcome.
Thank you, Vachal. And many people, creative people, researchers, scientists, before they come up with great ideas, they reflect and also they become quiet. much research is actually done in a space of quietness, silence. And ideas that come up within, certain thoughts that emerge, certain insights that come, certain observations that come. For many of us, if not all of us, actually they come in silence, when the mind is quiet. Because silence is not just an external silence. Now we can be externally very quiet, but internally it can be very noisy. I have one of my good friends in Holland. She at some stage sold her house, quit her job. No, not quit her job, but she took a year's leave. She sold her house and she got rid of many things. And she went on a trip around the world. And she, at some stage, was in the Himalaya, high up, and she said she even sent her guide away to be alone and to be quiet. All the way up there where it is so quiet and silent, and still she could not even have the noise of the presence of someone else. So she sent him away also. And she said, there was so much noise in my own head. And no matter how far away I was from people, and no matter how much I sent people away, I could not run away from that noise in my own head. So even though, and she said the silence around actually made it more clear how noisy it is in her own head. And so when we talk about quiet, when we talk about silence, we do not necessarily aim for an external silence or an external silence alone, even though we want peace, even though we want a certain quiet. But it is more to do with the quiet of our own mind and the quiet of our own inner world. Early morning, when the whole house is still asleep, it is externally quiet. But can you be quiet inside also? That might be the bigger challenge. And so if we can be quiet inside, actually it doesn't matter if there is noise around or not. We do not need to have to be distracted by the noise outside. No? Of course, to communicate, to listen, to interact, to learn, it needs to be physically quiet also. But for me to be quiet inside, it doesn't matter what happens externally if I am focused internally, or if I am focused on something specific. And that is very, what is the word? Useful and challenging maybe even today. What is the focus that I give to my mind? What is the purpose that I have for my mind? Because if I don't have a purpose, if I don't have a focus for my mind, then what is happening inside? What will happen if I don't have a focus? What will happen with my mind? I am asking. Huh?
It will be pulled in many directions, or
Why?
like gravity.
Why?
So as the topic title, the noisy world, one of the noise will pull you, or occupy you, or you start external. Mostly, you become external rather than.
But the reason that happens is because we do not give focus on our mind, to our mind. The reason that happens is because we give more importance to things external than to keeping internal peace. Now, for example, if you are reading a book, if you're studying maybe, or even if you're watching something on television, some movie or some documentary, or even the news, your focus is there, and sometimes you're completely oblivious of what's happening around you because your focus is there. Now, sometimes people read a book. Have you seen I've seen people on the subway reading a book. There is chaos all around, somebody speaking loud, somebody jumping, somebody dancing in the subway, some sound, music going on, but somebody reading a book, as if completely unaffected by what is going on around. This ability to focus, we all have. This ability to pay attention to what we feel is important, we all have. But we need to have something that we feel is important. We need to have something that we feel is of higher value than just letting my mind be carried away with anything and everything. And this inner quiet in a noisy world is about that. What is it that is important to me? What is it that I'm focusing on? What is my purpose for the day? What is my aim for the day? What is my aim for the week? What is my aim for my life? If I have a clear aim and a clear focus, and I deeply am, awake to that aim, then it becomes much easier to not be distracted with everything that is bombarded, that we are bombarded with. But where my heart is, that is where my mind will be pulled also. I have one friend, and anytime when you're in a conversation with her, it always ends up at food. It always ends up, somehow or the other, it always gets twisted into food and about food. Because that is where her heart is. Her heart is there, so her mind operates most of the time thinking about food. And anything she sees around, anyone she sees around, any situation, she kind of relates it to food. Huh? So she can focus when she's cooking. Because her mind is focused on the food and the menu and the recipe and how it will come together. And when she walks on the street, her mind is all over the place because she's not cooking. Unless she walks past the restaurant, or unless she smells some smell, food smell, then her interest is sparked, so her mind then focuses But if mind is not on focused on, if nothing of food triggers her, then the mind is all over the place. And she gets carried away with this, with that, with this, with that. And I'm giving her example, but I observe this within myself too. There are times when there is not a clear focus. There are times when there is not a clear aim. When there are times when I don't remind myself often enough of what I want the day to be about. And then the mind gets pulled all over the place. Now, one of the things that our mind does is it creates thoughts. Now, and mind itself doesn't discern. No, the mind itself just creates thought based on what we see, based on what we hear, based on what we smell, based on what we taste, based on what we can touch, and based on what other people's behavior is like. It generates thoughts. It can just trigger any thought within us. Or thoughts come from past events. Something happened this morning, something happened yesterday, something happened 1 week ago. Mind produces thoughts. But mind can be steered. The mind can be steered, and this is where the function of our intellect comes in. And our intellect is our discerning power. The intellect is our wisdom and our attitude towards life that decides what the intellect, how the intellect steers our thoughts, how the intellect steers our mind or not. But if the intellect doesn't have any power, now, and with intellect I don't mean IQ. Intellect, I just mean the wisdom with which you live, your common sense, your perspective on life and your perspective on self. And if you use your intellect, then that intellect steers the mind and steers the thoughts. But if the intellect is weak, or the intellect is confused, if the intellect has no purpose, no meaning defined, then the mind just goes on automatic pilot, producing all kinds of thoughts from yesterday to 5 years ago to what will happen later, and worries and concerns, and all kinds of things will just erupt in the mind, and there will be so much noise of thoughts in your mind. And that doesn't matter whether there is externally quiet or not. Now, the way to be having a quiet mind without being disturbed by external situations or external noise is to give more importance to your inner world. Now, at present, most people, if not all people, will tell that they want a good quality of life. That they want to be happy, they want to be peaceful, they want to be loving or loved. Everybody wants a certain good quality of life. But And for this, we have a whole industry that is catering for that. We have all kinds of electronics. We have all kinds of material facilities to help us create a good quality of life. But very rarely, emphasis is placed on the quality of our inner life. Very rarely, our society and even our educational system points us towards good quality of inner life. Because someone who has anxiety, for example, someone who has stress and anxiety, even though he may have a good quality of external life, would he feel content? Would he feel that a life is fulfilled? And so, in our ideas on quality of life and on peace, on happiness, on love, we often overlook our inner life. And how can we create a better quality of inner life? And more we pay attention to inner life, external life will at least not distract us, not pull us. It makes sense? Does it help to define? Now, what can I do to make my inner life stable? And what can I do to make my inner life more quiet? Anyone has any suggestion?
Meditation.
Meditation, okay. Any other thoughts? No one has any thoughts. Everyone is quiet and the embodiment of silence today.
What about detachment?
Detachment. We have created a society, our culture, our world culture. We have created a certain approach to life and a certain model to life. And this is worldwide, in different cultures, in different religions. We have created a certain model to life where we feel that to feel good, to have a good quality of life, we need to change things outside. Now, if we, and many organizations address changing of things outside. No, someone doesn't have money, so he can go to some institution and some government provision where he can apply and he can get some money. Someone who doesn't have, someone who doesn't have house, or someone who doesn't have clothing, or someone doesn't have food, you can go to certain places, do certain things. You're in a job and your boss is a bit unpleasant, so you change the job. This is our approach. There is a certain mismatch and we want to change outside. And very rarely we realize that maybe we can change inside, and we can change our approach inside. And that will help us at least be calmer, at least be more clear. And one of the things we can change inside is this attitude or this illusion that we have created for ourselves, that to be peaceful, that to be having a sense of value, self-value, that to have a sense of self-respect, we need to own things. We need to have things. And we need to have more and more and more and more and more things. This illusion of ownership, and ownership connected with importance, and ownership of things connected with a feeling of happiness. And this is another big illusion. You know, the most are people who are rich and have lots of things. Are they necessarily peaceful? Actually, many of them cannot sleep. They need to take sleep medication to sleep. You cannot generalize, but in general, what they observe when they do studies on happiness, they see a certain level of wealth is useful for people to feel a certain state of comfort or a certain state of calm. But more wealth doesn't make them more happy. It is not that more the owning of things makes us happy or more happy, but still we believe. Now you asked the other day, there was one girl here, and I asked her, what do you want to be when you are older? She tells me she wants to be rich. 13, 14 years old. I asked her actually what you want to be in terms of what you want to study, what you want to. She said, I want to be rich. Said, okay, so why you want to be rich? I want to buy things. I want to be able to buy. And so she said, okay, what do you want to buy? She said, doesn't matter, just buy. I want to be able to buy things. Doesn't matter what, not a fixed what to buy. And so, I mean, I'm laughing, and this is an illustration. But this is a bit the mindset in the world today. We want to own, and we want to own more. And somehow, consciously, subconsciously, it is associated with a sense of peace and a sense of happiness. No? We think, we believe. Just one moment. I think, because the illusion of ownership is something that doesn't help us to be quiet inside. The illusion of what is the word? Needing to acquire, that doesn't allow us to be quiet inside. And we can ask ourselves, can I really own anything? Truly? Question?
Answer is no.
If we cannot own anything, why? People will give you a certificate of ownership.
Everything is changing, everything is momentary, everything is temporary. So it is going to keep changing.
If something is yours, it should be yours forever, no?
No.
No, if, as a definition of ownership,
We think
if truly something would be mine, it should be mine forever. And I should not be able to lose it. Now, in this world, nothing qualifies like that. Nothing. No, I can say this is my mic because I bought it. I worked for the money. I didn't, but I could say like that. I worked for the money to buy this and I bought it. It's mine. Huh? But something that truly is mine should be mine forever. Nothing and no one should be able to take it away from me. In that understanding of ownership, nothing in this world qualifies. Because everything will come to an end. We say, my body. Is that a truth? You alone use the body. That's true. But is it yours? No, it belongs to nature. It belongs to matter. Sooner or later, it will go back to the 5 elements. It will go back to matter. Now, this mindset of owning and wanting to own and needing to own and creating a sense of self-respect based on ownership, that is what makes us restless inside. We feel we are someone because of our position. We feel we are someone because of our achievements. We feel we are someone because of the people around us and the people we have around us. We feel we are someone based upon our maybe education, maybe appearance of the body, maybe a certain ethnicity or a certain social status or a certain religion. But it is all temporary. We feel someone because we have a special car. Then what will happen when the car gets a scratch? Somebody writes on it, Om Shanti. The moment I think mine, that moment, there is deeper insight an anxiety or an insecurity of losing. And that doesn't allow us to be quiet inside. We don't like this word, losing. We don't like the idea of losing. Now, this anxiety and much of our stress, it is self-created and based on this illusion of value and self-value based on what we own or what we consider mine. this illusion of ownership undermines our peace, our quiet. The opposite of this attitude of ownership is attitude of a traveler, attitude of an impartial witness. No, an impartial witness or an impartial observer observes everything, is happy for the entertainment of the observed, but doesn't need to have anything or doesn't need to put a label mine on it, because tomorrow it will be somewhere else, something else. A traveler enjoys the different scenes that are there and that are unfolding, but doesn't want a specific scene to be there forever. Someone gave this example one time. You look in the sky and you see clouds. And some cloud formations are beautiful. But you don't go and say, my cloud. My clouds, look at my clouds. And you don't expect the clouds to stay like that forever. I want them to be exactly like that forever because I like them. It's so beautiful. This is how it should be forever. If I do like that, I am invoking sorrow for myself. Because the next moment the cloud will not be like that. And after a few minutes, the cloud formation will be completely gone or different or something else. So moment I say my cloud, or I want, expecting it to be exactly like that, I'm invoking my own discomfort. Now with clouds we are cleared not to do that. But how many clouds are there in our lives that we do like that? Expectations, this sense of ownership. So for this inner quiet, it is useful, these two things, to drop this illusion of ownership and to deeply reflect on this. Everything in this world is temporary, nothing is mine. Even this body, I have it on loan. And if you truly, deeply reflect on this, it gives immense sense of gratitude. Because everything is like given to you on loan. It's like a gift. And the attitude of an impartial observer of the variety scenes of the drama, with an attitude of not needing anything, just observing. Stepping back to experience yourself as a living light, and then let this body step out on the midst of the crowd of Fifth Avenue. But the living light, the soul, is observing the crowd and observing including this body. Without wanting anything, without needing anything, without desiring or expecting anything, without a sense of ownership of anything, without the expectation that tomorrow it will be exactly the same. In that state, one can be quiet, even in the midst of the noise of Fifth Avenue. Physical quiet we need for communication, not to be able to hear properly and to be able to explain things and others to hear properly. For that, there needs to be less or no noise or less distraction. But to be quiet inside, that doesn't matter whether noise is out there or not. If I have this self-control, so shall we try? A few minutes? Do some exercise. And to begin to cherish and value this understanding that you are this invisible experiencer, the invisible observer, even of this body. You are that soul, the living light, innately peaceful. And this living light is observing the variety scenes of the drama of life, impartially, not wanting anything of it, just watching, observing. So let's take a few minutes and adopt this mindset, this state of consciousness. And I'll guide some words, see if you can follow and grasp. For a few minutes, we choose to as if step back, as if withdraw from all the sense experiences, from all the sound and movement going on around. And also even begin to become aware that you are separate from the body. You are the one who is operating this body. You are the driver of this physical vehicle. You are that being of consciousness, the soul. Timeless, living light. And just allow yourself to fully grasp this. The body is like the puppet, the vehicle. And the real I is this timeless, invisible, living being of light. Operating the body from behind the eyes, the center of the forehead, and this being of light, the real self, is eternal. And like a traveler through time and through this world of matter, a traveler through this world of bodies and objects. A silent observer even observing the body, the hands, the fingers, the nose. It is all part of this building of the body. And there may be some sound or movement or interactions going on. But the real self is this silent living light, observer, who needs nothing from this world, who needs nothing even from the body. Because I am immortal soul. And just hold this awareness and this image on the screen of your mind of a living star of light. Pure, serene, peaceful. Living light. The soul. A guest in this body. A guest in this world of matter. And a guest can be amused, a guest can be amazed, but the guest never gets into the illusion of owning anything. guest has his own reality beyond. And so now try and remember the time before we entered this world of matter, before the living light entered a body. The time when the soul was in the home of light. A timeless, infinite dimension of stillness, of light, of silence. And just hold that in your mind. The soul world, the dimension beyond the world of the senses. The world of the family of souls, bodiless, invisible beings of consciousness. Peaceful beings, free, playful, pure. This is also where the Supreme Soul lives. And just hold the attention on that other dimension. The dimension of stillness and silence and light. It exists parallel to the dimension of matter. But your attention is beyond. And just reinforce for yourself that the real self is timeless, traveler. And come into the world of matter and into the dimension of the sense experiences, but as an impartial observer, as a witness. Just come to visit. Not to take, not to own, not to demand, not to expect, not to desire. Just to be entertained. Observer. Thank you. More we cultivate this inner attitude of being internally oriented, less we will be pulled and distracted by external situations. And we can still interact and we can still hear or see, but by choice, not by pull or force. We can be quiet inside, even whilst there is chaos going on around. Want to say anything? Ask anything? Anyone? No? Anyone on Zoom?
Sister, if you see somebody was not quiet, if you sense it, what do you do?
If someone is not quiet and you sense that they are not quiet,
Yeah, that bothers us.
and it bothers me. Okay. That just means I have to become more strong in my own peace.
That's the answer.
I have to be more strong in my own freedom, mental freedom. Because we cannot change other people. But we can inspire them by our own peace. We can inspire them by our own clarity. We can inspire them by our own freedom and our power to love, our power to tolerate. We can inspire them. But we can't change them. That is something only they can do for themselves if they want to. And this is actually next week's talk, or next week's topic, wishing others would change. Actually, that in itself makes us restless. Wishing and waiting for others to change.
But sister, may I say something? And for brother, what brother mentioned, that when someone else's Ashanti affects us, that means it is in a way, I will make that comment later on, why it is good. It reflects that I still have unconsciously turmoil within me. So somebody's Ashanti is stirring up my own Ashanti. So if I look at that positively, it means that person or that being or that incident or circumstances are doing us favor. It gives us chance to kind of pay attention. Aha, it says, be careful, I'm here. Knock, knock.
Yeah.
So just kind of little comment.
Shanti, sister, I have a question. Do our souls belong to us?
Sorry, do? Can you repeat that, please?
Do our souls belong to us?
In this understanding here of Raj Yoga is we are the soul.
Yes.
And we using a body, but I am a soul. So it is not so much my soul that belongs to me, but I am a soul. And I have this body on loan.
Yes.
But you are forever a soul. The only thing that we can forget that I am a soul and I start thinking I am a body or I am a male or a female or I am black or white or brown. But in the spiritual knowledge, the understanding is you are a soul forever.
So that would say that our soul is our sole possession?
You could say like that if you, yeah,
Thank you.
because you are forever that, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So let's close with one more minute of silence and come back to this awareness, no? Of being this invisible observer, invisible experiencer. Living light forever. Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night, sister.
Till next Thursday.
Good night.